to get it out. Otherwise, I feel like I'm gonna just be like twitching to do it in an interview. You know? All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Solid Ground's 22nd annual Building Community event. We'll be talking about how we can work together to solve poverty in our community and open doors to opportunity. I am one of your co-hosts, Nao Mazer, and I've been at Solid Ground for just over 3 years. I am our Community Food Education Program Manager. So over the next 45 minutes, we'll be showcasing some of the amazing work that Solid Ground does to help reduce barriers to opportunity and help people living on low incomes open doors to the futures that they envision for themselves and for their families. But before we get any further, I'd love to introduce my co-host. So she's well known in the Solid Ground community and to Seattle music fans. And this is Eva Walker. Yeah. Yay.
Wasn't expecting that.
And Eva is one of the founders and creative leads behind the Black Tones, a Seattle rock and roll band that was recently called one of the 15 most influential artists of the past decade. They are poised to break through on the national stage, and the Black Tones infuse a power trio format with family connectedness and community activism. Eva also hosts KEXP's local music show, Audio Oasis, which is broadcast on Saturdays from 6 to 9 p.m. So in just about 33 minutes, Eva will play some music for us, and we'll talk a little bit about the role of music in social justice movements. And then to hear Eva perform a rare solo set, if you stay on with us through the after party, you'll get to hear her play a little bit more music in about an hour. So please join me in welcoming Eva Walker.
Thank you. Thank you, Nao. It's a pleasure to be here, and I'm excited to help Solid Ground share its story and to play for you all, of course. And I've been telling the Solid Ground people all day, like, hey, you guys are freaking superheroes. I'm actually fangirling out because you guys are, Solid Ground's literally changing the world for the better. So when they asked me to be a part of the event, it was a complete no-brainer. I was like, yeah, I'm indebted to you somehow because you're helping the planet. So yeah, I will be there. So welcome everyone who's joining us across the area and around the country. You can help reach even more people right now by sharing this stream with your social media community and use the chat to be a part of the show. We have moderators on YouTube and Instagram who would love to connect with you. And we're coming to you live from Town Hall and Seattle, from Town Hall, Seattle, and we're grateful for their support of this event, of course. So thank you everyone who is here today and tuning in at home or wherever you're at.
And so we would like to open up the event by just giving a little acknowledgement that Solid Ground operates on the land that has always belonged to the Coast Salish and Duwamish peoples. As a modern nonprofit, we recognize that we are a part of the colonialist system that stole Indigenous land, attempted genocide, and continues to play a role in oppressing Indigenous peoples. And we recognize that we can't achieve our mission to end poverty without changing our relationship to the Indigenous peoples of this land. And so as Solid Ground, we pledge to build deeper relationships with the Duwamish, Coast Salish, and other Indigenous stewards of this land. And we also plan to work to repair the colonial impacts. So we encourage our partners, our donors, and our stakeholders to join us in this work.
And of course, we are here today to raise critical funding for Solid Ground's work to help solve poverty for over 70,000 people each year. That number is huge, 70,000 people each year. Thanks to passionate supporters like you, we're already 55% to our goal. So thank you very much for giving when you registered. And you can give by texting DOORS, DOORS, to 50155. Again, that's DOORS, DOORS, to 50155. Or check out the chat if you're streaming this and click on the link to see how you can give. And in about 15 minutes, we want to introduce you to some of the folks who will be here live on the stage to talk about Solid Ground's work, providing affordable housing, ending generational poverty, and untangling the social safety net. But first, we are going to turn our eyes over there for a brief video overview of the many ways Solid Ground's works to solve poverty and open doors to opportunity. So here it is.
When we talk to people who come to us for services, they often say the same thing. They want to be seen as whole people, not isolated problems. Issues such as housing and health and nutrition are all interwoven in a person's life. But the systems that treat these matters typically focus on addressing them in isolation, as if they were unrelated.
Solid Ground really is about creating this approach in which we want everyone to feel welcome.
So we thought, how could we break down the walls to make sure that every door opens to possibilities?
So the Every Door program here at Solid Ground is our opportunity to serve community members most effectively and efficiently and as quickly as possible with as many issues as they are presenting with, prioritized by them.
And that this is a safe space. This is a space where people can tell their story, and that story will be treated with the amount of care and comfort that it needs, and that they can get the resources that they need at any point in time. At Solid Ground, we tailor our services because we have to meet people in the ways in which they need that support. And that support isn't universal.
So the public assistance system was set up to provide really important resources for clients, but it can also create a lot of barriers for clients as well.
I got a letter from the state saying that I have child care overpayment. The letter said that there's a fraud. I couldn't sleep at night. I was just thinking about fraud is jail time, and thinking about how I'm going to be separated from my kids for a long time. Pretty much it traumatized me. I called 211 to get assistance from Solid Ground. I have no one else to turn to. We worked together for 18 months on the case. I can't believe the nightmare was over. It takes a huge load off me.
If you don't have housing, it's going to make it that much harder to be able to overcome all those barriers that people face. A really good example of a success story is a resident. She came from a domestic violence background, her and her son, and she's able to graduate from this program. She has done so well with creating community and giving back, just building herself back up from what she didn't think possible.
The community here, it's interesting because I think we all kind of know that maybe traumas have brought us together. We feel safe and we feel supported, and those two things have allowed us to get some traction in our lives. You don't always feel like people think that you deserve to be in a nice place, and I felt like my desire matched my environment. I mean, I can smell it, I can hear it, I can see it, I can feel it. I felt like we get to be here.
So community food education is a program of Solid Ground. Our program teaches folks ranging from pre-K all the way to adults. And we teach on the topics of cooking, nutrition, gardening, and generally kind of about food systems and how to navigate the food system.
I took a Cooking Matters class because it was offered to me once I moved into the housing program. So it's been about 1.5 years. I just wanted to encourage anybody that was, thinking about like making some nutritional changes, whether it be just for overall health or maybe a medical condition, that I would recommend it. I know that with myself that it helped contribute to a positive impact on some of my health.
Sometimes the doors we open are not to services or resources, but to power and to structural change.
I'm primarily involved in efforts at the state level to change public policies around our public benefit systems, around consumer protections for financial services, around addressing barriers to reentry after someone's been incarcerated, tax credits, a whole variety of things, but really working on how do we get more money into people's pockets and remove barriers from them being able to reach financial stability.
At the beginning, when I met Marcy, I got a flyer or something in the mail and it said, I'll get $20 if I come listen to these people and let them know what's going on in my community. And it was a listening session that they had down here. My experience is people that make laws and that have, the power to do that stuff, they don't know what it's like to be poor and not to have a place. Your kid only has one pair of shoes and they lost a shoe. They can't go to school. They don't have another shoe. You know what I'm saying? They don't understand stuff like that sometimes, and bringing our experiences to the table, I know that's important. Then I went up and I testified on this bill. Like if I know something that isn't right, I'll go up and I'll look up the bill or the law or the RCW and then figure out how it is wrong, that how can we change this? How can we get this changed?
Sometimes the doors lead from isolation to community.
As we know, a lot of people with disability have no means of transportation or no abilities to drive a car or a vehicle. We have clients that actually don't have anybody, no family members, nobody to actually check on them. So our drivers going to pick them up is actually at the same time a wellness check on these people, and at the same time as an opportunity for them to socialize with the outside world.
I was in a confidential shelter before this door opened. It's the small things that lead to the ability to be able to say yes to the bigger doors, because sometimes those doors can feel scary.
So if you can reach one person, that one person can reach someone else. And then at the end of the day, you've made a difference.
We can't do it alone, but when we come together, that amount of advocacy, that amount of energy, that amount of support, that's a pretty powerful thing to be able to harness. And if we can harness it to end poverty, that's even better.
It takes all of us to make this possible, and there is a role for everyone in this work. Join us.
Hello everyone, my name is Anna Cronin and I'm the Senior Director of Communication and Philanthropy, brand new to Solid Ground and really enjoying my time here. I'm so proud to be here. Shalimar was going to talk about how we co-create community, but she's feeling a little under the weather, so you got me. Thank you. So, the most effective way Solid Ground can open doors to opportunity is by listening to the people we serve and working with them to co-create the community that we all want to see. Dr. Martin Luther King called it the beloved community, a society based on justice, equal opportunity, and love of one's fellow human being. Of course, you cannot love your fellow human being if you do not know them. So Solid Ground starts with listening to the people who are survivors of institutional and systemic racism, generational poverty, and other oppressions. For us, listening is an active process, one that we invest time and talent in, and we listen because we believe that people know best what it takes to meet their needs and achieve their dreams. Here are some of the ways that we listen. Our Community Accountability Council is an independent body of people with lived experience of poverty who meet monthly to give Solid Ground input and feedback on everything from program design to messaging and policy development to fundraising. Every 3 years, we survey the community of our program participants as part of our community needs assessment. This input helps Solid Ground identify gaps in our services, unmet needs, and opportunities to align our work more closely with what people want and what they need. Following our last community needs assessment, we learned that, no surprise, people do not like having to go through multiple agencies or programs to have all their needs met. They knew that their housing issues were connected with food insecurity, and they wondered why the social services system made them go through different doors to access resources. So we developed what you just heard about, the Every Door model, so that all of our services are available to people no matter what door they come into Solid Ground. We're in the midst of our community assessment right now, and we look forward to sharing what we learned this year. Another way that we listen is through a series of sessions that our advocacy partner, Poverty Action, conducts every other summer in low-income communities across the entire state. They take what they hear in those sessions and they fashion it into a statewide advocacy agenda that then serves as the guiding principle for their legislative work each year. Co-creating community also means deepening our connection to our supporters, our volunteers, our partners, and our supporters. And we cannot do the work to solve poverty without all of you. Thank you for being here today in the room and at home. And thank you for all of the many ways that you show up for your community. Today, we are hoping to raise $200,000 to support the work that we do, and we are more than 55% to goal. Woohoo! And this is where y'all come in. Will you join us today by making a gift to Solid Ground? For those of you at home, there's a donation link on your screen. For those in the room, we're using text to give today. So will you take out your cell phones and text the word DOORS, DOORS, yes, that's right, to 50155. Again, the word is DOORS, DOORS, to 50155. And thank you so much. I'm going to give folks just a minute at home and in the room to find their phones or click through that donation link. And I'm going to stand beautifully and strongly here in front of you. The number is 50155. All right, I made it 10 seconds. Thank you all so much for being here, and thank you for all of the ways in which you support the community. So, with more than 20 programs and services, we could spend the next week talking to you about all of the things that we do to solve poverty. But instead, we want to introduce you to a few of our major impact areas. Throughout the coming year, we'll be hosting some deeper conversations about these areas and talking more about our innovations, our partners' work, our impact in the community, and we'll invite you to join us in those community conversations so that together we can all dive deeper into this work. In just a few minutes, some of our frontline staff are going to share with you their perspectives on how we solve poverty. But first up, we have a special guest joining us on video to talk about innovation in housing. So Doug Baldwin Jr. is a devoted husband and father, a philanthropic leader, philanthropic activist, business leader who's pioneering innovative housing models. He's also a former Seahawk and a Pro Bowler. I think you'll be intrigued with what he has to say.
Our mission is we aim to disrupt and transform historically exclusive systems by investing in empathetic solutions that create access, opportunity, and a sense of belonging. We want to make sure that the solutions that we're investing in, the solutions that we're creating are sustainable, right? We don't want to be just in one place, one time, and then not be able to continue to support that. We want to continue to do that over and over again. One of our sayings is that we show up, we create access, and then we get out of the way. Well, the premise for housing is just an essential necessity for human beings, right? We need to have a shelter, a place to live where we can be humans. When people have the space to not be in survival mode, then they have the time to think about, okay, what does life look like? How do I get to the next step? We can transform the system to work for the people who need housing, and then wrap around services around that in a for-profit way that then can continue to grow and sustain itself. Don't get me wrong, that is a very ambitious goal, and we haven't unlocked that yet, but it's a problem we want to tackle. So we started kind of with a bare bones approach just because we didn't know. And so services include like behavioral health support, financial health support, helping you just find food, put on your table, simple stuff like that. It's really a holistic approach. We're trying to move intentionally, sometimes slowly, so that we can make that impact and we know that it's going to work. From a landlord's perspective, it's like if you have healthier people that are living in your buildings, they're going to take care of your property. If they have more time to do things that are important to them, then they may not be missing their rent, right? So then all of that comes back to you tenfold, but it's just being able to show that mindset and then demonstrate that with data that the impact is there, and then taking that on a larger scale, and then maybe we can change the system. Well, obviously coming from a sports background, I recognize the importance of the individuals that play specific roles on the team in order for the team to be successful. And what that means is that everybody has to bring their full self to the table. In order to solve the problems that we're looking to solve and find solutions, we have to have a diverse set of perspectives. And so this is what we like to do, is be able to have a seat at the table to learn from the people who have been doing the work for many, many years, and then bringing our full selves to the table and the perspective from a different angle to try to solve those problems. So I'm asking you to come join us so that we can learn together and hopefully tackle these problems and find solutions together.
Yeah. So if housing to end homelessness lights your fire, you'll want to join us at our May Social Justice Salon, which, as you saw mentioned, is May 12th at downtown Seattle Glassy Baby, where Doug will join us live in person, along with other partners, folks with lived experience, and Solid Ground staff, to talk about how permanent housing is foundational to building the beloved community envisioned by Dr. King. Thanks again for being here, and thanks again for your support. I'm going to turn it back over to our MCs to introduce our panel.
Thank you, Anna. So with us today, we have three of my incredible Solid Ground colleagues, each of whom offer unique perspectives, on our work. So I'll introduce them. So on the far left here, we have Oliver Alexander Adams. He is the Family and Children's Program Manager at our Sandpoint Housing Campus. He and his team work with families to enhance their stability and support their children to thrive. Next up, we have Barb Hart. Barb is a case manager in Solid Ground's homelessness prevention program. She supports families and individuals to identify and work towards realistic goals to help them maintain their housing stability. And Leanna Cresson leads the Basic Needs campaign at Statewide Poverty Action Network. They develop policy and advocate for solutions to community-identified concerns around public assistance programs.
All right, Oliver, we're going to start with you. Can you tell us how Solid Ground works with community partners to create pathways to success for youth in your program?
Thank you, Eva and Neo, for the introduction. I'm Oliver Alexander Adams. I'm a family and children's program manager at the permanent housing site we have at Sandpoint. We're all formerly homeless housing, but we're permanent. And I think a lot of where I want to start with this is talking a little bit about what success looks like. Because when you work with families for years, success changes. Success it means one thing, it means stability with housing. And then success means other things. It means stability in school. It means stability in careers. And it means growth in those things as well. And so with my families, I really want to start with the individual level. Even as young as my elementary schoolers or middle or high schoolers, they all have goals and dreams. And you know what success means to them may mean employment. It may mean finishing high school. It may mean having friends. It may mean going to college or getting a job. So with all that in mind, what does building a community and having strong community partnerships look like? To me, it looks broad. It means building relationships with schools. It means building relationships with colleges and employers. And it means creating opportunities for youth to be directly involved on site, to be in conversations with mentors. So it means being broad. It also means being specific. It means bringing individuals on and having those people stick with youth for years. People who are going to invest in the youth, just like we want the youth to invest in the world around them. And so, from a community-centric view, looking at an individual level, every kid is different, and we want to really highlight that in our community partnerships. And I want to focus specifically on academics because My team would tell you that I talk about academics a lot. I really like giving kids a chance in school. And we have an academic program of support that I really believe in. And it focuses on these community partnerships that help families engage with schools, and it helps kids get the one-on-one support they need to show up and get what they want, whether it's just finishing high school or pursuing a career, going to college, figuring out what they want, whether we're going. You'll have to bear with me for a second. I lost my train of thought. I'm back. Okay, so what I'm saying is, to me, it means a lot to have my kids really have a voice in what types of community partners we get. I want a mentor that's going to help me with this thing. That's what we're going to look for. And so I ran into one of my youth about 2 weeks ago, and she's a junior/senior at University of Washington in the computer science department. I say junior/senior, she's graduating in 3 years, faster than I did. I put on my metaphorical hat, the hat that you put on where you think, I'm gonna check in with this person, I'm gonna give them the things that I think they want. And I started to talk to her about what she might need, and she was like, no, I'm good. I've got an internship at Google this summer. I'm graduating next year. I'm doing great. And I was like, oh, right, the mentors are still there. The partnerships are still there, but she didn't need, she was flying all on her own. We didn't need to do any more. And I think that meant a lot to me because it's like you get to see a little more of that impact of the work, and you get to see like the value that community had with her. And now she said, my mom gave up a lot for me to be here, and now I'm ready to give to my family as well. So I'm constantly proud of her and humbled by her, but that's just one example of where I kind of feel like community is, it's kind of what we have to build. And eventually community goes beyond us. It allows us to do the individual things. We all work with different groups at Solid Ground. I work with formerly homeless clients that are permanently housed, but some of our staff are working with clients who are becoming homeless or at risk of becoming homeless. And the needs are just varied. And so a lot of what we need to do to support individual communities and to support individuals within those communities is to really engage with them on a whole family approach, because what families need is what kids need, and what kids need is what families need. All that being said, I think it just requires that we listen and that we slow down and that we engage consistently, and that we have a long time to do so, hopefully. So, thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing a little bit about your and your team's work. It's really incredible. So our next question is for Barb. So in my program's work, community food education, we think a lot about how do we help people overcome barriers that they have to accessing healthy food, to eating that healthy food, but then also sustaining those changes. So can you tell us a little bit about your program and how you think about some of the barriers that folks come to you with and how you address them?
Hi, I'm Barb. All right, let's try this again. I'm Barb Hart. I'm with Solid Grounds Housing Stabilization Department, Homeless Prevention Program. And on a daily basis, I do, as a case manager, get clients who are facing many barriers. And particularly, we focus on maintaining stable housing. So we try to keep them stably housed. Not only that, but we try to also treat and make sure that we are listening to the whole person, because although they may be in immediate housing, that does not stop, and the barriers won't go away just by putting them in housing. And We have a 6-month case management program where we can give families and individuals 3 months of financial assistance. But it doesn't stop there, because as a case manager, you will continue to reach out to the family and find out what barriers they have and challenges that might be hindering them from moving forward, such as how job training. If they're a family with children, then the children may be in need of daycare or clothes so that they can go to school, transportation, or the family might even need bus passes. We try to address those barriers. There are individuals and families that will come to us as well who are struggling with personal issues like substance abuse, mental health, medical needs, and we reach out to partner agencies in the community to try and connect those families to those services. In addition, I just want to give a little story about a lady that I've been thinking about all day that we at Solid Ground assisted in the latter part of 21. She had an adult son who lived with her, and the adult son was murdered and had no burial insurance. So she reached out to Solid Ground in January of this year, and she wanted to know what happened is she took her rent money and paid to bury the son. So she was now facing eviction. She lived out of Seattle area in close to Pierce County. So we did as much as we could to get her the monies by putting some fundings together so that she had a grandchild living in our house, could keep that housing. She also had lost her benefits, so I worked with her to get her reconnected to SSI, Social Security. And on a daily basis, we get people who just, they need somebody to bounce off their goals. People set goals, and we try not to set goals for people. We let them lead that way, and then we walk them through that process. That's it. I think that's...
Wow. Thank you, Barb. Thank you. And Leanna, we've heard about how Solid Ground works with families and youth, but we know that a lot of what keeps people in poverty are oppressive systems in our society. And tell us how Solid Ground takes on systemic change.
Thank you, Eva. Yeah, like she said, my name is Leanna, and I work with Solid Ground's advocacy partner, Poverty Action Network. And one of the big ways, I think Anna mentioned it before, of how we go about interrupting these systems of oppression is we start by listening. We do listening sessions all around the state, just this one, not all of them, just Washington. And we hear from folks who are living on very low incomes, and we hear like how are things working for you? Is if you could change one thing about public benefits, what would you change? Or just hear about like how the systems are working or are not working for them. And then we take what we hear from all these different corners of the state and we bring them to the people who make these policies, the legislators, the policymakers, and we say, hey, we know some people who know better than you how to make these programs, and I think you should meet them. And so we really try to shrink that gap between folks who are impacted their day-to-day lives by these policies and the folks who are designing and legislating these policies, and shrink that gap to zero so that they're hearing directly from the folks with lived experience. You heard from Amy in the video also, who was expressing a little bit about how that she is the expert of her own life and she knows what she needs to meet her basic needs. And so we think that the policy should reflect that and should offer dignity to people and offer respect to people and actually help them meet their actual needs instead of what a legislator may perceive as the potential need of someone. So yeah, always trying to shrink that gap and interrupt those systems by infusing them with actual lived experience from people who know best.
It's great.
Well, a big thank you to all of our panelists for just giving us a brief glimpse into the work that you and your teams do. It's really incredible work, and it shows us what solving poverty looks like in real time, both on the levels of families and of systems. So it takes a broad community of support in order for us to make this work happen. So please, if you hadn't had the opportunity yet, please text DOORS, that's DOORS, to 50155 to contribute. And now we have a special treat for you. So as you heard at the beginning, and you may already know, my co-host Eva Walker is a rising star in Seattle and is also the host of KEXP's Audio Oasis. And on this show, she showcases Seattle music makers. So as the co-founder of the Black Tones, along with her twin brother Cedric, she makes music that, in the words of one reviewer, rubs mind, body, and spirit without posturing, chasing dollar signs, or fitting pre-made molds. We are absolutely delighted to have Eva sing for us now, but this is just a little taste. She will be back as a part of our after party just before 5:30 and will be playing a full solo set. So please stay tuned into this live stream. And right now, please join me in welcoming Eva Walker.
Thanks, you guys. It's so amazing to hear the work that Solid Ground does. And actually, the first time I got hip to Solid Ground was a few years ago. Spike Lee came and spoke. And I was like, whoa. And first my whoa was like, Spike Lee. And then my whoa turned into, Solid Ground's amazing, because I ended up learning more about them. So it's an honor to now be a part of an event supporting this amazing organization. So as Neo says, yes, I play in the band with my twin brother called the Black Tones. And I mostly play 100% with the band now. I don't do a whole lot of solo stuff. So I'm going to try to make these songs solo. So if there's a little bit of space, it's probably because there's a guitar solo there or something. This song is called Woman in Black. I actually wrote this after going to a 50th anniversary celebration of the Seattle chapter of the Black Panther Party. I went to the event and I was blown away, and I came home and I wrote this song. That was about, I don't know, 8 years ago. I don't know. Don't even know why I brought up the year. This is called Woman in Black. May the moon shine on me, your king and queen of the dark, and the light that you love has only brought you shame and war. So you leave the day to come join. When they leave you behind with your roses and white, you ask why. 'Cause I'm the woman in black, and it's right what you see. Bullets don't walk, they run from me. Mountains don't bounce, they jump over. And I am what I am, and you'll do what I want, 'cause I run the highway. Don't make it a bad thing, darling. Don't make it so bad, so bad. And the TV's too bright, and everyone in jail's too dark. Something's wrong here. I think I'm leaving, baby. I think I'll be gone so long. And I am what I guitar solo. And I just want to say about that song too, because I used to wear a lot of black in high school, and people were like, "Oh, you're gothic." Like, no, actually, it's just a nice color. It looks great on me, and the association of blackness with evil and darkness has just gotta stop. So that was the inspiration for the title "Woman in Black," and the Black Panther Party had a hand in that.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Eva. Another hand, please. And we do have a few questions for Eva. So your band, The Black Tones, is a hard-rocking power trio. And there aren't a lot of examples of women lead guitarists in music, particularly Black women. So can you tell us a little bit about the role that you see music playing in creating more equity and opportunity?
Yeah, absolutely. I was about, I think 15 years old when I first discovered Jimi Hendrix. And I was like, oh my God, he kind of looks like me. Who is that? And before that, I remember carrying around a guitar and someone telling me, Black people don't play guitar. And I was so embarrassed. I was like, oh my God, do we not? And people would say, you're like the whitest Black girl I know. Or all of the things. And for a second there, I believed them. I was like, well, I don't want to be white. I'm not trying to. I just like this instrument. And that's because of lack of representation, right? And so when you're growing up and you're watching MTV or you're watching what's on TV and you're looking at rock and roll, it's very white presenting, right? And it wasn't until I discovered Jimi Hendrix that I realized the importance of representation. Because when I saw him, I immediately went, wait, Black people do play rock and roll. They do play guitar, they're wrong. And then I got into classic rock, like Rolling Stones, Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, all those people. And then because I liked them so much, I was curious of their influences. So I started going backwards. I was like, well, who inspired these wonderful British people? And the Stones named their band after a Muddy Waters song. Led Zeppelin stole a lot from Robert Johnson, and I got into Sun House, and then I realized, I was like, all of these Black musicians inspired these white rock and rollers. I was like, rock and roll is hella Black. That's amazing. And so then I literally, it is funny the way I tell these stories because, yeah, I'm kind of a comedian. But literally when that happened, I was like, no, I'm supposed to be doing this. So representation to me has been so important. And for me and my brother, we went through playing through Seattle and sometimes being the only Black band in there, most of the time being the only Black band in there, let's get real. And most of the time people would avoid describing us as a rock and roll band. They would call us like a blues funk, or they would call us soul something. And the one time we got rock was when someone described us as world rock. And I was like, what is that? Isn't that Yanni? It's like, I'm from Seattle. What is world rock? So, and then, now people call us a rock and roll band. They don't dance around it. But just seeing those people before me do that stuff made us, helped us with pursuing this as a career, as a real rock and roll career. And because of Black representation, me and my brother have been able to play with Weezer, Death Cab for Cutie, Mavis Staples. I've worked with members of Pearl Jam. And all of this is because I saw Jimi Hendrix. that's why it's important.
Yes, thank you so much for speaking to the importance of representation. So, as an organization that's really dedicated to social change, I'm wondering if you could speak a little bit about the role of music and art in social change movements.
Absolutely. One of my favorite quotes comes from Nina Simone. An artist's job is to reflect the times. That's what we're supposed to do. And then we write about a little, other things. I have a song you're going to hear later about a spider. But music throughout history has just been so significant. I mean, you can pick up a history book in some random school and a song from Public Enemy will be more accurate, or from NWA, or from Peter Tosh and Bob Marley. Music has the real folk stories and real American history, world history throughout these songs. And I tell people when they say, we've heard it racism doesn't exist or blah, 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 blah. And it's like, I highly doubt that Bob Marley and I'm just going to throw some names out there. Nina Simone and Jimi Hendrix and Bone Thugs and Harmony, just some random 90s hip-hop group. I doubt they all had a little meeting and said, hey, let's all write about the same thing and talk about how the world's oppressing us, and then, we're just all going to make it up so they'll all believe us. It's like, no, these are people's individual experiences that happen to correlate in a lot of these songs, right? So that's proof right there. So I rely on a lot of music for just history, honestly. And so I think that's a big impact, because when you don't know history, things tend to repeat themselves, right? So the importance of that and of that music and preserving this music, folk music, all kinds of music, rap music is to me, and hip hop. And I know not all of it's great, but you know what? That goes for rock too. I think rap gets a really hard rap. And I think we know why. But there's a lot of folk stories being told in that music. I mentioned Bone Thugs and Harmony. They have a song called First of the Month. Do you know how many communities in this country relate to the topic of that song? That is real folk music, So just people being able to express what's happening in their communities that don't get heard, but you have Eazy-E's giving them a voice, right? Or Jimi Hendrix is giving them a voice. And so just music being the medium for people to be able to express themselves, talk about what's happening in their world, has just been some of the best, all music, rap, hip hop, country, rock, blues, gospel, all of it has just been, we're lucky to have it because it's been amazing documentation, and accurate for the most part documentation of real American history that we aren't going to read about in our books. Is that real enough for you? That's all I got.
Oh my gosh. I truly wish we had more time to talk to you about this. This is incredible. And thank you so much again, Eva.
Support Solid Ground, please.
So we can look forward to hearing more music from Eva in another 10 minutes or so. And right now we'd like to thank all of the partners who made this event possible. So a big thank you to Town Hall Seattle for hosting and for live streaming this event. And thank you to Mama Nikki for video support and for our theme song, Welcome Home. You can find curated playlists from Eva and Mama Nikki on our event live stream page on Solid Ground's website. And we'd also like to thank our sponsors, Community Champion QFC, our change makers, the Biela Foundation, Sprague Israel Giles, Microsoft, Whole Foods, the Coho team of Windermere Agents, and DCG1. And our amplifiers, our Cora, Virginia Mason, US Bank, Ayush Herbs. And give a round for all of our sponsors, please. Thank you. So one of the things that I really love about working at Solid Ground is just that so many people that work at Solid Ground really believe in the strength and the power of the people who come to us seeking support. The people who come to us are the ones who are experts in their own lives, and we are just trusted guides in their paths, helping connect people to resources they need to be successful and live their best lives. So we are going to take a quick break and be back with the after party in 5 minutes, and we will be featuring a solo set by Eva Walker. So if you are watching at home, feel free to grab a bio break, get a drink or a snack, and come back soon. And for those of you who are here with us in person, if you haven't had a chance yet, please take a look in your gift bags, and you will also note that there are Whole Foods gift cards in some of your gift bags. Thank you, everyone.
Go to sleep, my children, sleep. Go to sleep, my children who are weak. Lay your head upon my shoulder and close your eyes, my children who are weak. I tell them it's okay, tell them it's alright. Tell them you're with me on this day. So say goodbye one last time. Close your eyes, my children who are weak. For when you open up your eyes, I'll be here by your side. So come and take and grab my hand, for I am that I am, that I am. So welcome home, 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 welcome home. Close your eyes, my children, sleep. Close your eyes, my children who are weak. Lay your head upon my shoulder and close your eyes, my children who are weak. I tell them it's okay, I tell them it's alright. I tell them you're with me on this day. So say goodbye one last time and close your eyes, my children who are weak. So welcome home, 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 welcome home. So close your eyes, my children, sleep. Close your eyes, my children who are weak. Lay your head upon my shoulder and close your eyes, my children who are weak. Close your eyes, children who are weak. Close your eyes, my children who are weak.
Thank you. Welcome back, folks at home who got drinks and snacks. So first of all, I just wanted to thank you all for being here. Thank you all for coming and joining us in person, which is a thing that we do now, and hopefully we do more. You all helped us raise $145,000 tonight. So we're so, thank you. Thank you to the incredible panelists. That was just amazing. But before we move on to Eva's performance, QFC is our premier sponsor for this event and the exclusive sponsor of the after party with Eva Walker. And to share a little bit about why QFC supports Solid Ground and its programming, please welcome QFC VP of Operations, Troy Harding.
Thank you. Well, I'll tell you, what an honor to be up here today, to be with Solid Ground and the good work that you do. And you know, it's a huge opportunity to have a couple of minutes and address the group. But I also know that I'm keeping everybody from listening to Eva come up and sing for the group, so that's awesome. You know, as I heard the team talk about Solid Ground, it was super inspirational. And it meant a lot to me, and it meant a lot to us at QFC to be a part of the journey and to be able to connect with everybody. So I started to make notes over the last couple of days on how would I tie it all together between QFC. And really the beauty of it all is we have a lot to be thankful for. You know, a lot of our stores are located in the communities, in the neighborhoods, and everybody that we serve is a part of that community. Solid Ground believes in changing lives, one person at a time, one community at a time, and so do we. At QFC, we believe in our core values: honesty, integrity, respect, diversity, and inclusion. And I was telling Mike a few minutes ago, as I was reading through the website and learning more about all of the different ways that Solid Ground helps the community, I kept coming across those same words. And that really means a lot to us at QFC. At QFC, we believe in coming for a job and staying for a career. I know for me, 30 years ago, that's how it happened. I came for a job, and here I am speaking to you today, which is just super good. We also believe at QFC in embracing all cultures and all backgrounds, just like Solid Ground. We continue to listen and we continue to learn with our associates, and we continue to learn with the community. And what an honor it is to be here with you today. So thank you for everything. Please give back, and thank you.
Thank you. All right. Without any further ado, I'd like to welcome Eva Walker. Thank you so much.
It's me again. Hi. Gonna play a few more songs for you. I hope that's okay. And feel free to relax. If you have a chip bag, just open it, talk. I won't be offended. It's all good. We're just hanging out. This is the after party. So you don't have to stay quiet and be like, we must be quiet and hear every lyric she sings. Just if you're like in a really good conversation, like finish it, yo. I'm gonna tune really quick. All right. So, you know what? I'm going to do a little timeline here. I'm going to start without the guitar, actually. So I was telling you guys about, like, you know, the history, a little bit of the history of, or that I discovered of rock and roll and how black it was. And, ooh, let's turn this around. And one of the things I forgot to mention is we would do shows, and I would kind of give people a little bit of history. I would say, you wouldn't have rock and roll without blues, gospel music, and black people. So I'm going to do a little timeline, and we're going to start with a Son House song, and it's called Grinnin' in Your Face. Son House, if you know. Okay, how many of you know who Led Zeppelin is? Raise your hand. Raise your hand. Do you know who Led Zeppelin is? Woo, yeah, how many of you know who Robert Johnson is? Raise your hand. Woo! Raise your hand if you know who Son House is. Woo, you see how it slowly gets less and less and less? That's the history diluting. That's the history disappearing. So Son House inspired Robert Johnson. Robert Johnson inspired Led Zeppelin. So we all have Son House to thank for Led Zeppelin. So I'm going to do Son House song. It's just instrumental for the most part, and it's called Grinnin' in Your Face. And I'm just gonna kind of, like I said, do a little timeline, a little early blues, some gospel, and get into some rock. Okay. Don't you mind people grinning in your face? Don't mind people grinning in your face. Whoa, just bear this in mind. A true friend is hard to find. Don't you mind people grinning in your face? You know your mother will talk about you, your sisters and your brothers too. They don't care how you're trying to live. You know they'll talk about you still. But bear this in mind. A true friend is hard to find. Don't you mind people grinning in your face? Don't mind people grinning in your face. Whoa, just bear this in mind. A true friend is hard to find. Don't you mind people grinning in your face? You know they'll jump you up and down. They'll turn you round and round. Just as soon as your back is turned, you know they'll try to cut you down. But bear this in mind. A true friend is hard to find. Don't you mind people grinning in your face? Don't you mind people grinning in your face? Don't mind people grinning in your face. Whoa, just bear this in mind. A true friend is hard to find. Don't you mind people grinning in your face? Don't you mind people grinning in your face? Don't you mind people grinning in your face? Okay, again, we're at the roots of rock and roll right now. We just started with some blues. We're going to inch over to some gospel music. I'm not religious, that doesn't matter. Whether you're religious or not, you should really appreciate gospel music because, again, you wouldn't have rock and roll without it. So I'm going to do one or two gospel songs. We'll see how this goes. Yeah, so I hope you, and if you are religious, I hope you enjoy this. This is kind of a darker gospel song. I like that stuff. This is a song about Judgment Day. And when I first heard it, like the one you just heard, it's also a cappella, which just makes it hit harder. So the person who sang this song is Sister Reverend Mary Nelson, who sung, I mean, this was recorded probably 1930s maybe. And on the recording, it's her, and there's 3 other voices, including a child's voice. So it's going to just be me today. Here it is. This is called Judgment. You better get ready by judgment. You better get ready by judgment morning. You better get ready by judgment. My God is coming down. Better get ready for judgment, for God is coming down. The cloud will bear his horses where man begin to frown. You better get ready by judgment. You better get ready by judgment morning. You better get ready by judgment. My God is coming down. Better put on your mourning garment and get your staff in your hand. For Jesus is coming that morning. He's coming unaware man. You better get ready by judgment. You better get ready by judgment morning. You better get ready by judgment. My God is coming down. Well, all you hypocrite members, you're wasting your time away. My God is calling for workmen, and you had better obey. You better get ready by judgment. You better get ready by judgment morning. You better get ready by judgment. My God is coming down. The gamblers, the drunkards, the liars, and the adulterers too. Well, all these false pretenders and all them hypocrites too. You better get ready by judgment. You better get ready by judgment morning. You better get ready by judgment. My God is coming down. Well, you better get ready by judgment. You better get ready by judgment morning. You better get ready by judgment. My God is coming down. All right, here's your second gospel song. Oh, I got lipstick on too. That's too bad for this harmonica. I'm gonna cross the rivers of Jordan. I'm gonna cross the rivers of Jordan one of these days. Hallelujah. I'm gonna cross the rivers of Jordan. I'm gonna cross the rivers of Jordan one of these days. I'm gonna meet my mother in glory. I'm gonna meet my mother in glory one of these days. Hallelujah. I'm gonna meet my mother in glory. I'm gonna meet my mother in glory one of these days. Ha! Woo! days, hallelujah, I'm gonna tell her how you treat me. I'm gonna tell her how you treat me one of these days. I'm gonna cross the rivers of joy. I'm gonna cross the rivers of Jordan one of these days. Hallelujah. Thank you. Okay. That was the history lesson part of the set. Now to the rock and roll. Oh, here it is. Okay. Okay. Thank you for letting me do that. I don't get to play those songs very often. Man. So I'm gonna play you some originals now. Not a whole lot, but some. So this first one, it's kind of a funny one. My twin brother and I wrote about lack of representation, which we were just talking about. How convenient is that? You can't plan that out, or maybe you can, but whatever. And it's about lack of representation in fields of religion, fields of politics, fields of entertainment. And it's called My Name's Not Abraham Lincoln, because that's literally the best title I could come up with for this. This is kind of like imagine a all black owned saloon. This is a song you'd be singing in there. My name's not Abraham Lincoln. I don't know who I am. Ooh. Well, my name's not Abraham Lincoln. I don't know who I am. Ooh. Well, my name's not Jesus Christ, 'cause I don't know who I am. Ooh. Well, my name's not Jesus Christ. I don't know who I am. Ooh. Well, my name's not Ronald Reagan, 'cause I don't know who I am. Ooh. Well, my name's not Ronald Reagan. I don't know who I am. Ooh. Elizabeth Taylor. Who? I don't know who I am. Ooh. Well, my name's not Elizabeth Taylor, 'cause I don't know who I am. Ooh, ooh. Ooh, ooh. Ooh, ooh. Ooh, ooh. It's a nice little short one there. Okay, now we're gonna go in a completely different direction. So I'm an arachnophobe, which I also realized I probably should stop telling people that, because someone's gonna like mail me a spider or something. I don't know. I don't like spiders, but I love the blues. So I wrote a blues song about a spider trying to kill me, and because that's what it feels like every time I see one. I feel like they're intimidating me, and a more accurate title would probably be Cedric, There's a Spider in My Room, because my twin brother killed all of my spiders for me. But mama works. And usually when, this is another song I play with the band, and usually when we do this song live, I kind of give people a perspective of how much I actually hate spiders by comparing it to something. So here we go. Ku Klux Klan spiders. Yeah, that's really dark, isn't it? I don't say it in certain states. Mama, there's a spider in my room. I said, Mama, there's a spider in my room. He said, hey girl, why are you still... I know, it talks to me. I know. That's how scared I am of it. I love that you laughed because I came from the perspective of this. That's what I think it's doing. Okay, I'm sorry. It stopped the whole song for that. I appreciated that chuckle, though. He said, this song's for her. He said, hey, girl, why are you still in bed? I'm gonna buy you real good until you're dead. I said, I live here, man. Who are you, Mr. Spider? He said, hush up, girl, and hold my hands. So I yelled, Mama, there's a spider in my room. I said, Mama, there's a spider in my room. He said, quit screaming, girl. This is all a true story. You're gonna give me a headache. I'm gonna crawl up and down you. Girl, I'll make you shame. I said, stop. I just wanna go to bed. He said, girl, you ain't going to bed until you meet your judgment day. I said, Daddy, there's a spider trying to kill me and put me in my grave. He said, girl, you crazy. Go on to bed. I said, Daddy, you just lazy. Kill that damn spider dead. So I said, Mama, there's a spider in my room. I said, Mama, there's a spider in my room. Mama, Mama, Thank you. Yeah, that is on our debut record called, okay, this is the name of our debut. It's called Cobain and Cornbread. Yeah, that's good, right? So we called it that because when you're in a band, people ask you, what's your sound? What do you sound like? That's the question you always get. And my brother and I are born and raised in Seattle, but our entire family is from Louisiana. So we have influences from both regions. So I tell people, a combination of Kurt Cobain and cornbread. And then we were like, that's going to be the name of the record. Kurt Cobain, I wasn't like listening to Nirvana while I wrote the record, no. But Cobain represents the aesthetic of the Northwest where we grew up. Yeah. She's got cornbread. And she's literally got a box of cornbread. That's great. You have cornbread too? Look at this. Oh my God. So, Cobain representing the aesthetic of the Northwest and cornbread representing the aesthetic of the South. So that's why we came up with that. I'm going to play a couple more songs for you. This next one is the first blues song I ever wrote, ever. What's my name? And can you tell me what's my favorite color? Where am I from? And can you tell me what's my lucky number? And if you know this, then you just might be in love. And how long do I stay? What's my guitar's name? And if you know this, then you just might be in love. Thank you. I have one more song for you all. I know, but I only got so many solo songs until you start hearing 3-minute strumming because there's a giant guitar solo that I, which then cuts the solo version into a 1.5-minute song, right? This last one is about my maternal grandparents who were from New Orleans. And I'm actually currently trying to get my grandfather in a museum, the Museum of Flight. His name is on the moon, and he was a contributor to the lunar rover. And I wrote this song about my grandparents. This has nothing to do with space. I just thought I'd brag about them a little bit. The first verse is about my grandfather. Second verse is about my grandmother. And it's called Plaid Pants because, you know, when you get to a certain age and, you know, right now we keep up with the fashions, and then you're going to get to a certain age where you stop doing that. And you're just going to stay stuck in that decade. For my grandparents, that was the 70s. So, so they stopped at plaid shirts. But plaid shirts doesn't make a good name for a song. So I went with Plaid Pants. So this song is about them, but also it's an ode to and a love letter to old age itself. You know, there's a lot of songs about being young and in love and but there's something like humbling and kind of psychedelic about, you know, being toward the end of your life in that way, and having all that experience behind you. I'm sorry, some of you are like, please shut up, Eva. I'm so sorry. Getting close, I am sorry. So let me just do the song while I've been doing so well, and then I'll get off the stage. This is called Plaid Pants. Thank you guys. Support Solid Ground. I'm directing it to you. It's tall, glasses and all, black hair in a queen-size bed. He walks, he's got his plaid pants on, long legs, they start at his head, strong hands, a rubber man. Southern Belle.
Save your name and picture frames. Your country's bright, but you're moving alright. Southern Belle and voodoo spells. It can't be said, 'cause our friends are all dead. Ooh, they got their black hands on. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you, I'm Eva Walker.
Solid Ground. Thanks to you guys. Thank you, Solid Ground. Support Solid Ground and poverty. And if you don't think poverty exists, just drive around Seattle for like 10 minutes.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Huge thank you to Eva Walker. That was just amazing. Thank you. To our panelists who are somewhere, to Neo for her incredible, there she is, thank you. And thank you all for being here with us in person. Hopefully we'll see you around soon and enjoy your afternoon. Thank you, bye.